In this lesson, we are going to really tap into the power of UI Router with named views. In the previous lesson, we created a single, simple route and moved our main layout into an HTML template. We're going to take that a step further by separating that template into two templates, a category template and a bookmarks template, and then defining a separate view for each of them. When working with a large application, it is often a good idea to define a top-level abstract state that defines kind of the base layout as well as any additional information that you want the child states to draw from. So let's take a quick moment and refactor the egghead state to be an abstract state that we can use as a starting point for the additional states that we're going to define. We're also going to set up a fallback to redirect the user with one additional service called URL Router Provider. So I'm going to inject URL Router Provider, and then from here, we're just going to say abstract is true. I'm going to say otherwise, just redirect to the root of the application. And so now that we've done that, let's refactor our categories template that just kind of contains everything here into two specific templates. So in categories, I'm going to just copy this right here, and I'm going to place this up here. And then for the bookmarks, I'm going to copy the bookmark specific stuff, and I'm going to paste this into the bookmarks template. And so now we are left with kind of this remaining container HTML that we are going to go back into our main HTML file and paste this into here. And let's delete this unnamed UI view here, and let's create two named views. So this is where we want the categories to go. So we're going to go UI view, and this takes a property here of categories, and then let's do the same for bookmarks. UI view. And so now that we have named UI views, we need to define corresponding views in our state provider to match up. And so we'll hop into our categories and define an egghead category state that we can attach our views to. We will inject our state provider. We will give this the URL of the root of the application, and then we are going to define our views property. And now this is going to be just an empty object initially, but we need the keys on the views object to match up to our named views. So categories and bookmarks. So we'll go categories. Now we are adding the @ symbol to make this an absolute path, meaning that it will target this named view specifically with any unnamed state within our main page. This allows us to go as far as defining specific configurations for a specific view and a specific state. So more on that later. But from here, it's pretty much like defining a normal route. We will define our controller and template URL, and we should be ready to go. And we will do the same for our bookmarks. And the categories controller and the bookmarks controller doesn't actually exist yet, so let's just define just a real quick stub of those. So we'll go controller. And let's do the same for the bookmarks controller. And we should be good to go. So let's back into the browser and refresh. And you can see that the page is still rendering, but if we actually inspect the element here, we can see that it's actually targeting the categories UI view and the bookmarks UI view. So just a quick recap. We refactored the eggly state to be abstract, as well as we introduced URL router provider to redirect to the root of the application. We then refactored the categories template, or the main template, to have two separate templates, categories and bookmarks. And then in the main index page, we introduced two UI views, UI view categories, UI view bookmarks. And then from here, we define the eggly.categories state with the URL of the root of the application, and then two absolute views targeting the categories named view, the bookmarks named view, and the controller and the template for each of those views. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson, where we are going to introduce state params so we can pass specific information from one state to another. See you then.